Walk around Newcastle and you'll see them everywhere. Narrow stone staircases and dark little alleys. Most people barely give them a glance, treating them as nothing more than a handy shortcut from the city centre down to the quayside. But what if they were not just shortcuts? What if they were actually doorways into the past? These are the veins of old Newcastle, and every single step holds a story. For centuries, these stairs and chairs were the absolute heart of the city's trade, its secrets and some of its darkest legends. So today, here on 55 Degrees North, forget the sat-nav. We're going to explore the hidden paths of Newcastle and uncover the history that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. We'll walk the medieval alleys that once buzzed with life and climb the steep stone stairs that saw everything from daring escapes to whispered ghost stories. This is the hidden history of Newcastle's stairs and chairs. Our journey starts down on the bustling quayside. Today, it's all about stunning bridges and a great night out. But for centuries, this was the commercial engine of Newcastle, and its lifeblood flowed through the network of narrow alleys, also known locally as chares. The word chair is a classic Geordie term for narrow lane, likely coming from the Old English word meaning a turn or a bend. At one point, there were as many as 20 of them snaking away from the riverbank, each one crammed with houses and workshops. Some were named after important local figures, like Plumber Chare, which is believed to have been named after a town bailiff from the 14th century named Robert Plummer. Other names hinted their purpose, like Trinity Chare, which served as the rear entrance to the powerful Trinity house. But the term wasn't just for the riverside. Chairs existed in higher parts of the city too, away from the quayside. You can still find Pudding Chare near the big market, so named perhaps because its winding intestine-like shape resembled a black pudding which was sold nearby. There's also Denton Chare, a medieval lane that once connected Westgate to St Nicholas's Church, and Prudder Chare, now a pedestrian route by Eldon Square, which follows the line of the old Prudder Street. Many of the original chairs were wiped out forever in the Great Fire of 1854, a disaster that saw a chemical warehouse in Gateshead explode, tearing through the quayside and erasing entire streets. But some survived, and the most important survivor is probably Broad Chare. As the name hints, it was built wider than the others to get carts and wagons through, but its real treasure is tucked away behind an unassuming archway. Trinity House found it way back in 1505. This was the headquarters of the city's most powerful mariners' guild for over 500 years. This place has been dedicated to the welfare of sailors and the safety of the river. Stepping into the courtyard feels like you've left the 21st century behind. The buildings are gorgeous mashup of Tudor, Georgian and Victorian styles, completely shifting out the noise of the modern city. It's a living museum. And get this, the original land was acquired for a quit rent of a single red rose, to be paid every year on Midsummer's Day if demanded. It was an incredibly romantic detail for a place built on tough reality of maritime trade. Alright, time to leave the quayside behind and begin our ascent. We're heading up using the steep winding staircases that physically and historically connect the bustling riverside with the fortified High Town. These aren't just functional constructions, they are monuments in their own right. Some are named for their intended purpose, others for the mortal danger they posed, and a few for the incredible legends they inspired. Our climb begins with one of the oldest and most foreboding, the aptly named Lawn Stairs. First documented way back in the 13th century, these steps feel steeped in a grim history. They're said to be haunted by the ghost of a man named Henry Hardwick. The story goes that in the 16th century, Hardwick was cornered here by a press gang, men noisterous for forcing sailors into service. When he definitely refused to work on the ships, they allegedly murdered him, throwing his body down the cold stone steps. His restless spirit is said to remain a chilling echo of the brutal realities of life and death on the quayside. Centuries later, the same stairs found a new, more modern legend. They were immortalised in the iconic 1971 gangster film Get Carter, providing the gritty backdrop for the frantic chase scene where Michael Caine's character flies down their steep, narrow path. From here, we find a cluster of stairs whose names tell stories of a city on constant alert. The nearby Tuthill Stairs, for instance, get their name from the old words Toot Hill. This was a lookout post, a place where a watchman would stand, horn in hand, ready to sound a piercing blast to warn the town of approaching enemies. Just a stone's throw away are Battery Stairs. Their name is a direct link to the city's military past. They led to the Half Moon Battery, a key artillery post used to defend the riverside from attack during the English Civil War in 1644. And then there are Breakneck Stairs, a name that leaves little to the imagination. These steps were literally carved into the 14th century town wall's parapet walk, forming a treacherous descent for guards on patrol. The name wasn't a joke, it was a timeless and very serious warning, and perhaps for that reason they are now closed off to the public. But perhaps the most famous and certainly most romantic staircase is just a short walk away. The Dogleap Stairs. The name is so iconic it was immortalised in the opening lines of the Dire Straits song Down to the Waterline. But its true claim to fame comes from the incredible true story of forbidden love and rebellion. Picture the scene, it's 1772. A young wealthy woman named Bessie Surtees is determined to escape a future she doesn't want. She climbs from a first floor window of her grand family home to elope with John Scott, the son of a humble coal merchant, a match her powerful father absolutely forbid. Their legendary escape route led them right here. Can you imagine the sound, the frantic clatter of horse hooves on stone? They fled up Dogleap Stairs and rode off to the Scottish border to get married. Penniless boy she ran away with, John Scott, rose through the ranks of the legal profession to become Lord Eldon, the Lord Chancellor of England, one of the most powerful men in the country. As we get higher, we reach our final ascent up the castle stairs, which for centuries have been the main route from the riverside up to the castle garth. These ancient steps lead up to Newcastle Castle, a place so old it's collected some truly bizarre legends, and one of the weirdest is actually true. In the December of 1733, a showman advertised that he would fly from the roof of the 100-foot castle keep. A huge crowd gathered below to watch. As promised, a figure with man-made wings appeared on the roof and launched into the air. But as he plummeted downwards, the crowd realised it wasn't the showman at all. It was his donkey. The poor animal, which the showman was apparently using for a test flight, crashed into the crowd below, tragically killing a young girl. The strange event was even reported in the Newcastle Courier newspaper. Now, while we're at the castle, let's debunk a popular myth. You often hear that the castle spiral staircases were built clockwise to give right-handed defenders advantage with their swords. It's great detail that makes perfect sense. The only problem? Historians have found no real evidence to back it up. It seems to be a romantic idea. It just isn't true. So our walk is at the end. We've explored the arteries of old commerce, listened for the ghost of a murdered fish seller, retraced the hoof prints of a great escape, and uncovered the tragic tale of a flying donkey. The stairs and chairs are the physical link to the city that's layered with history, just waiting to be discovered. So next time you see a narrow staircase or a dark alley, don't just see it as a shortcut, see it as a doorway into the hidden history of Newcastle. Please let me know in the comments below which of these stories you found the most fascinating. And if you've liked the video, please give it a massive thumbs up, as it really helps the channel grow. And if you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell notification when I release more videos. A massive thank you for watching. See you next time, right here on 55 Degrees North.